Sherm Chester with you on this edition of the Seacoast Sports Forum podcast, a notebook edition again this week. It's a busy time of the year for a lot of our friends that are reporters, Roger Brown, Jay Pinsono, Brandon Brown. This is about the midpoint of the schoolboy, schoolgirl team sports. So they're covering them all in different locales. And matter of fact, I was involved with one last week, and we'll talk about that in a second. It was a rivalry week for both the boys baseball and girls softball teams in Exeter and Winnacunnet. And we'll talk about both of those and then look at the schedules for the teams in general. And then I have a special interview with Coach Kristen Morissette of the Exeter Bluehawk girls softball team in just a few minutes. Let's take a look at the standings. Again, we're about the midpoint of the season for both the girls and boys sports. Let's start off with boys lacrosse. How about that? The Exeter Bluehawks right now coming off a couple of wins, and they have a youth night coming up against the Londonderry Lancers. That's when they have the future Bluehawk lacrosse stars come on the field and get to hobnob with the big guys and get some autographs and photos after the game. That'll be a fun night. And then they go on the road. The Bluehawks will be on the road for not one, not two, not three, but 4 games. They'll be playing Keene, Monadnock. Then they'll be going to Bishop Girton to play. They'll be playing Nashua South on the road. And then they wrap up their road trip in the 26th of May against Bedford. Final game of the regular season will be at home. That'll be on the 28th. And that's against the Bishop Girton Cardinals. So a home and away setup for the Exeter Bluehawks versus the Girton Cardinals. So let's look at the standings for boys lacrosse right now. In Division One, the Pinkerton Astros, and again, we're going not necessarily with the win-loss record. All the teams have points assigned to them because of the different teams they play in different divisions. Sometimes they play out of their division or a neutral division. So again, right now, Pinkerton with a 9-2 record is on top of Division One. Bedford right behind them at 8-2, and the Bluehawks at 8-3, along with Bishop Girton. Right behind them is Windham at 7-3. So a lot of teams fighting for that top spot. It's not a giveaway yet. Bluehawks have their work cut out for them because they will be on the road for the next 4 games after their home game youth night against Londonderry this week. Looking at Division Two, it's the Winnacunnet Warriors with a 7-1 record. They're on top. And matter of fact, right behind them is Derryfield with a 9-1 record, again, based on the points ratings, even though it's 7-1 for Winnacunnet and 9-1 for Derryfield, based on points and their ratings. Winnacunnet is on top of the heap. But again, Portsmouth has a 9-2 record. They're right in third spot. And St. Thomas Aquinas, they're at 6-3. They're in the 5th position. Oyster River Newmarket, 5-3. They're in the 6th position. And in boys lacrosse Division 3, it's Brown Northwood, 8-0, leading the pack. In girls lacrosse action, in Division 1, the Portsmouth Clippers, they're so far undefeated, 10-0, leading the pack with 40 points and a 4.0 rating. Sauhegan with a 7-1 record in second place, Bishop Girton at 8-3, Nashua South 7-3, and the Bluehawks coming in at 5th position with an 8-4 record. Pinkerton, Bedford, Londonderry were right behind them. And again, we got a lot of good lacrosse action still to come. The Bluehawks, by the way, on the road at Londonderry. Then they come home to play Kennebunk. They'll be playing Sauhegan, Manchester Central, Manchester West, and then Nashua South at home. Their final game of the regular season will be on the road against the Bishop Girton Cardinals. So we got a lot of good lacrosse action coming up still in Division 1. Looking at Division 2 right now, the leader of the pack is the Timberlane Owls. They're at 8-1, followed by Winnacunnet, a 6-2 record, and Merrimack at 7-2, Goffstown at 5-2, and Hanover at 6-3. Oyster River Newmarket, their record right now is 3-4. And in Division 3, Hopkinton is leading the pack with a 7-1 record, followed by John Stark and Bow in 3rd position. Guilford with a 5-1 record. And again, St. Thomas is at 7-2, but based on their points, they're in 5th position. All right, let's move on to baseball. It was kind of a mixed week for the Bluehawks, and they had a game against the Trinity Pioneers, who are leading Division I baseball right now. They went into the game knowing that Trinity was undefeated. and it would be a contest, and it was. Unfortunately, Trinity came out in the end, the winner. So the Bluehawks were standing with an 8-3 record, and Trinity had to play the next day against the Pinkerton Astros, and they lost. So Pinkerton, for a day, they were on top of the heap. Uh, it didn't last long though, because Trinity is back on top with a 12-1 record. Pinkerton at 11-2, Dover Green Wave at 9-2, and now we'll get to the Winnacunnet Warriors and the Exeter Bluehawks. They played their rivalry contest on the road. The Bluehawks on the road in Hampton, and they came out on the short end of that one. And it was Harvey Reynoso who was the big gun in that Exeter Winnacunnet game, pitching for the Warriors, and he came up ready. He's a southpaw, and he was ready to take on the Bluehawks. And again, it's kind of a I don't want to say revenge because that's a harsh word, but in a way it was, because it was Winnacunnet Exeter in the championship game last season, and up in Delta Dental Stadium up in Manchester. So congratulations to Harvey Reynoso for a fine game, and Coach Bruce Joyce from the Bluehawks quoted to Jay Pinsino, "It's always a battle between the two schools, no matter how each team is doing." And Coach Joyce actually gave a lot of credit to Harvey Reynoso on how he came out pitching against that Bluehawk lineup and doing a heck of a job. All right, so that is how it ended for the Warriors, 8-3 winners over the Bluehawks. So again, in the baseball standings, Trinity leading the pack, Pinkerton right behind them, Dover, Winnacunnet, Bedford, Londonderry, Bishop Gorton, and the Exeter Bluehawks at 8-4. That is in Division 1. And now let's go to Division 2, the standings right now. Hanover is on top of the heap with a 9-1 record. Kingswood with 8-1. Hollis Brookline right there with them at 8-1, tied for second place. Oyster River at 8-3, and St. Thomas Aquinas also tied for fourth position with an 8-3 record in Division 2 boys baseball. Division 3 baseball, it's Bishop Brady with an 8-0 record, Monadnock at 7-0, and Fall Mountain at 6-1. Let's go to Division 4 baseball, and on the top of the heap there, still undefeated, the Newmarket Mules, 11-0. What a team. Sunapee right behind them at 7-1, and Epping at 8-3. Now let's moving on to softball. I had the privilege of doing the public address announcing the other night, and it was fun because it was youth night, youth softball night. So all the leagues around the Exeter area came to root on the Exeter Bluehawk girls in their rivalry contest against the Winnacunnet Warriors, and it's always a contest. And it was a real great game. 5-4 final score in favor of the Bluehawk ladies over the Winnacunnet Warriors, but it was a contest all the way. It was Landon Thaberge who came in relief, pitching for the Bluehawks, who went 1-2-3 in the last inning to come up and hold on to a 5-4 win over the Warriors. And the game-winning hit in the game, Jill Ryan, she had 3 hits in the game, 2 RBIs. Lily Lord and Lane Ruffner in the game had RBIs. So what a game. Oh, Maddie Mann, don't forget Maddie Mann also had 2 hits and scored 2 runs in the win. We had a nice crowd show up. The weather cooperated. We had a sunny afternoon, and the kids, after the game, the future Bluehawks, got to meet with the current Bluehawk team and get some autographs and photos. So a lot of fun up there. It is senior night coming up at Exeter High School, and they'll be hosting Manchester Central Memorial, and that should be a fun contest. And I'll be doing the public address announcing for that night as well. So giving the seniors their just due before they go battle against Manchester Central Memorial. Matter of fact, a lady that is kind of not elusive, she just doesn't like to be interviewed, is the head coach of the Bluehawk softball team. A very successful coach. She's in the Hall of Fame. She was a successful player in her college days and in high school days, and that's Kristen Morissette. And we had a chance after the game to talk a few seconds with the coach. I know she was a busy lady. She had a lot of things going on after the game, especially celebrating the victory over Winnacunnet. But I did get her to stay with me for a couple of minutes, so let's play that interview with the head coach of the Exeter Bluehawk softball team, Kristen Morissette. Tell us about the game first.
Very exciting. I thought the pitching on both sides was great, and the defense. That's probably the best outfield we've seen this season from Winnacunnet. And we had some big at bats. We had great contact up and down the lineup, and even the girls that we had come in off the bench really did their job, and we fought hard, and to beat them by 1 anytime you beat Winnacunnet during the season, it's a good win. It's a great rivalry. It was a fun, well played game. So we'll take it on this Friday. We'll take that win. I'm proud of the girls. We still have a lot of season left.
Tell us about some of the team. Tell us some of the standouts. The senior day is coming up. Tell us about some of those seniors.
Yeah, we have 3 seniors on this team. All 3 are our captains, along with a junior, Matt Clark. But we had Grace Goudreau out there in the outfield, did a nice job. And then Maddie Mann, who's been playing short, great athlete, leadoff hitter. She came up with some big hits. And then we're happy to have Lila Smalley back. And she was our designated player today and came up with some big hits. So it was great to have her back in the lineup. They're great leaders. They're great students and just great role models for the young kids in the community.
And now the season is about midway, so we got one big hurdle. This one, the rivalry game. What else we got in store?
Yeah, we got some tough ones coming up. We still have Londonderry and Pinkerton, who are very good. We do have Senior Day coming up next Wednesday with Central. So we still have about, I don't even know how many games left, but we've got a lot of tough ones left on the schedule. We're looking to get a few more wins, hopefully sneak into the tournament, and then anything can happen when you get to that second season.
This is a big one. This is a rivalry game. This can get a fire going in everybody's belly.
Correct. Anytime. It doesn't matter what your record is. When you play Winnacunnet, those go out the window. It's a great rivalry. The kids sometimes they play travel ball together against each other a lot, so they know each other. And we're hoping that this really gets us going for kind of the second half of the season.
The head coach of the Exeter Bluehawk softball team, Kristen Morissette. And in track, the Exeter High School track team placed second at the annual Clipper Relays. That was at Portsmouth High School last week. Still a dominating team. The Bluehawk ladies are just setting records and breaking records every time they go out there on the track. Matter of fact, in the 4x400 meter relay, it was the foursome of Emma Roeder, Maddie Poteet, Martell McBride, and Izzy Bremer placing first in a school record time, 3 minutes, 57.68 seconds. So there you go. You have a busy week of schoolboy, schoolgirl sports, and the weather has cooperated so far. I know I'm having fun. We're doing a lot of the youth days. Future Bluehawks come to the stadium and are acknowledged during the different contests, lacrosse, and again, softball this week. Then coming up, we have senior nights. That's always a big day or a big event. And to all the teams in the Seacoast, just keep on keeping it on, okay? Now, 2-minute drill time. I want to play another piece of that interview I had with the softball coach of the Bluehawks, Kristen Morissette. I talked about the team and the game we saw the other day, but I also wanted to ask her about her son, Cody Morissette. Cody is in AAA right now with the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. You got to love that name. But he is part of the Miami Marlins system. So let's get an update on what's happening with her son, Cody.
He's doing well. It's funny. He actually was activated last night and came in to pitch in relief, if you can believe it. He hadn't pitched since high school, but they had a short bullpen last night, and they needed someone, and they asked him. He came in, and he did give up 2 3-run home runs, but then he set down the next 9 in a row. It was fun. That's not his position. But they were all saying if they get the win today, it's because Cody took up some of those innings for the bullpen. So it's fun. He'll be DHing tonight, and we're hoping he gets a couple hits tonight. One
phone call away from the show. And that's another part of my 2-minute drill today. I'm rooting for guys like Cody and a guy who finally made the Red Sox for the second time and is seeing success this time around. He actually got his first base hit for the Red Sox the other night, and he's a guy from Merrimack, New Hampshire, Mickey Gasper. This is my type of player. He's a guy, you could call him a journeyman or a guy that just wants to get into the big leagues and play baseball. He was with the Red Sox. They let him go. He floated around under a couple of teams. Finally, he got back into the Red Sox system. And the other night, with all the injuries that are going on with the team, the Red Sox, he got a call up. Now, he was supposed to have played against Tampa Bay the other night, and it got rained out. The game got rained out, so his debut was pushed off a day. They decided to give the catching staff a night off. So they put Gasper behind the dish, behind the plate as catcher. And he said, sure, why not? And then he came up and got not only his first hit as a Boston Red Sox, but also his 2 other hits in the game and scored the only run against Tampa Bay. I mean, this is my type of guy. I mean, you got guys like, and I think about Lou Merlone, who works with Dave O'Brien in the broadcast booth now. Here's a guy Boston guy or Massachusetts kid that probably dreamed of being on the Red Sox for years and years. And during that Nomar Garcia-Pera era, made his way on to the team, had some success, did get traded away, and came back. He's a Boston guy. He got into the broadcasting business, and then eventually now he's doing the color commentary along with Dave O'Brien on the broadcast, which I think he's doing a fine job. But those guys like Merlone, like a guy like Mickey Gasper, and I hope Cody gets his call to the show. That's what I'm really hoping for. They just they want to play ball, and that's all that matters. It's in their heart and soul. That's what counts. If you have any comments or questions, secosportsforum@yahoo.com. And if you're enjoying the program, please pass the word. We're on all the major podcast platforms. So until next time, this is Sherm Chester inviting you to join us for the next edition of the Seco Sports Forum podcast.